can't see me, but I'm retwisting my client's hair. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Khadija Eno. What else should I say? Where I'm from, or
it's up to you. I don't know.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, BK. I'm 32. A mom of 3.
This is our first time meeting.
Yeah, this is our first time
getting her hair done. So I'm going to be asking her just a couple questions while I got her hair because her locks are beautiful. I'm gonna just have you turn around so I can see your hair. How long have you had your locks? So she getting a retwist too. So this is the portion that's already been retwisted.
Since 2015, so that would be almost 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you had another set too?
Yes. My mom / her good friend started my locks when I was about 5 years old. And then I had that up until, and so I'm 32 now. So that was like the early 90s. And then I had that up until I was about 26, 2013. So I had it for a long time. My hair was far longer than it is now. And then I kind of decided to cut them off and just explore my hair in different styles, extensions, twist outs, and 2-strand twists and whatnot for a couple of years. And then I got these in 2015.
What's your length goals?
Life goals?
Length.
Oh, length. I was like, oh, we're getting deep. Length goals. So I've really enjoyed my hair being shorter than what I'm used to, or what I was used to for a lot of my adult life. But I would say mid back, I think would be the perfect long length. Really enjoyed it. So I like short and long. So yeah, those are my preferred short and long lengths.
Okay, and your hair was already long the first time, right?
Yeah, it was pretty long, you know, not all the way down to my butt, but probably a little past mid back.
Okay, how does your husband feel about your locks?
That's funny. So my husband initially had never really thought much about locks, and from his like family and history, a lot of the women that he knew had extensions, weaves, you know, straight hair, permed, pressed, that kind of thing. So locks was a new thing for him. And he said that a lot of his time, well, he grew up in West Africa, so a lot of his time growing up there, you know, locks were kind of considered, you know, unkempt, you know, that's usually the people who had their hair locked, or not really locked, but like more matted, and then they would probably call it dreadlocks or something. So his association to it wasn't the best, but when he saw my hair, he really liked it, and he's seen me on my journey, and I've talked about it and what it means to me and why my mom locked my hair in the first place. And now we'll see actors or actresses or whatever on TV, and he's like, you know what? I think she should get locks. I don't know why she's wearing her hair like that. So,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So initially the choice wasn't mine. It was my mom's because I was 5. I mean, well, she asked me, but I feel like I remember her asking me, but I didn't really know what she was asking. So I said, yeah, sure, of course. And I think my mom framed it as like, you won't have to have your hair combed, because I hated having my hair combed. It was just, I'm telling you, like tender-headedness times 1,000. And it was a headache for me. It was a headache for literally, and it was a headache for my mom. And she was just like, I think we need to find a simpler solution. So my mom and my dad grew up during, you know, civil rights movement. That was their time when they were in college. And so they were very much about, you know, Black identity and loving your skin and your hair and everything that makes you who you are. So it was my parents' idea not to like ever let me perm or press my hair, because, you know, they thought that was just a slippery slope. And so they wanted me to, I guess, essentially love the texture of my hair, because they had, you know, growing up, my mom, she grew up, you know, her hair was permed and everything. So it's when she went to college that, like, you know, she wore her afros, and after college she got her locks. But I guess, you know, me being her only daughter, because I have 3 older brothers, she wanted to kind of change that pattern. And start off with a love for naturalness and to not be afraid of it, which I have come to see that a lot of women have this kind of fear of their own natural texture, and a lot of times they try to cover it up, and they always look at me and they're like, wow, I can't believe you wear your hair like that, like, you know, like I'm doing something brave, but this is all that I've known. So I'm thankful for my parents for just kind of, I don't know, kind of keeping me somewhat naive and ignorant of processing my hair, and just kind of telling me that this is the hair you're born with and this is the hair you're gonna die with. I'm not hating on permed hair, by the way. I don't want anyone to think that, because you do you. However, my note to a lot of people is I just don't want them to be afraid of their natural hair. You can perm it, but I don't want, you know, usually I don't want people to perm their hair because they're just afraid of what's underneath. You know, I was always teased because, you know, they'd call me nappy headed and all that stuff. And so it was hard growing up because I didn't understand, especially at like 7 and 8, like what my parents were trying to teach me, because I was just like, yeah, but I get bullied at school, so can we just not do this right now? But I think by the time I got to high school and college, I realized, wow, this is a statement that my parents kind of made me make before I knew what kind of statement it was, and it was a strong one, and one of self-love. And I'm kind of proud that they kind of set that in motion before I even understood, so that I could come into it naturally and really, really understand it, which I do now. And now I have 2 daughters, and I tell them every time that I do their hair that their hair is beautiful and thick and pretty, and, you know, their hair is their own, and, you know, it's glorious. Like, I just try to find every kind of positive adjective for their hair, because, I mean, I myself have been the recipient of, oh, your hair is really thick, you know, like with a negative connotation, or, you know, that whole good hair, bad hair type thing as well, that I had to grow up with. And so it's one of those things where I'm just continuing on, I guess, what my parents tried to teach me. And so, yeah, no, there will be no perming in my house, at least until, you know, they have a right to do whatever they want with their hair. But at least from now until, you know, they start college, I want them to at least grow acquainted with who they naturally are in terms of their hair. And
what about med school? I think that's interesting. You're gonna have locks.
Yeah, that's interesting. See, where I am in terms of where in Wisconsin, I think in a way it's kind of an allure. Oddly enough, either people don't understand it or they're wowed by it, and I do try to make sure that it's kept well. And so, you know, oddly enough, people think it's kind of exotic, but it's still clean, and, you know, it's just this weird aura that sometimes I can give off, especially to you know, people not of my culture. But I don't see why there can't be more doctors with locks. I think there are a lot of patients who have locks, and I want to go into psychiatry, and sometimes when a patient's able to identify with you phenotypically, it can help. And I would have loved to have seen more doctors that look like me when I was growing up as well. And more women are getting it each day.
I know.
I've converted like at least, well, no, I won't say at least half of my friends, but at least they have gone from the, I don't know what my hair can do and I'm kind of afraid to see it in its natural form, to, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of let it do its thing and be natural and try locks for a few years. And so it's catching on, this black girl magic. Yeah.
Man, it's okay to be magical.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, as long as you use it to encourage others as well. So yeah, use your magic for good.
And it doesn't mean that we don't have our, you know, weak points or down points, but we can be magical and still not be perfect.
Exactly, because no one is. It's good to have these kind of conversations.
Right.
I think a lot of people think about it, but they don't really know who to talk to about it or how they're feeling. And, you know, it's a journey for everyone. You know, there's unfortunately, the journey has its highs and lows with your hair, whether it's shame or guilt or disregard or pride or whatever it is, based on, you know, where you grew up and what you've heard and what you've been exposed to and what you believe and all that stuff. So, you know, I think everyone should just rally around each other as we continue on this journey and, you know, continue to love, support each other and tell ourselves to love ourselves in our natural state. We're no less than anyone else.
So how did you build up your confidence having locks?
I'm trying to think how that happened. Actually, you know, there was one turning point. It wasn't like the only turning point, but I think it was really helpful when I was in high school. I was a sophomore, so what, I was like 15, I think. Arie had her first album that was out and everyone was talking about it, Acoustic Soul. And that was the first contemporary artist that I had seen who had locks. Like, her locks were like down to, you know, a little past her shoulder or maybe longer, I can't remember. And they were thick too. And she was singing songs about, like, what was that song, Video, like I'm Not the Average Girl from Video and everything. And just kind of like, you know, it was just everything in one person. I was like, yes, at like 15, I just like drank it all up. It was amazing. I was like, and to see her nominated for all those Grammys and with her head wraps and everything, I just remember just loving it. And I sing as well, so it was just like I could connect with her on so many levels. And that was really encouraging. Now, granted, she did cut her locks off in like, what, 2002. And I think I was still kind of riding that wave, like, yes, India, you are our savior, you know. And then she cut it off and I was like, no, you know, but then she had that whole I'm not my hair. And then I realized it's not just about locks, it's just about who you are and where you are in your journey. And she also went on her hair journey. And then her hair, you know, I think she had like just like a low cut, and now she does like kind of 2-strand twists or whatever and stuff. But I love that song, I'm Not My Hair. Because hair is important, but it's not all that you are, you know. So, you know, we were simultaneously going on our hair journeys, and, you know, I wasn't influencing her at all, but she was influencing me and making me realize that, you know, you gotta create this balance. You know, you love your hair, but it can't be everything.
How long did it take your hair to lock?
That's a good question. I don't know, but it didn't take that long. When I would like see the ends and it still kind of looked like it was like a 2-strand twist instead of, you know, but maybe a year or so.
Okay. You started off with 2-strand twists.
Yes.
Okay.
When my first set was started off with braids, I think.
Okay.
And I missed my locks during those 2 years. I mean, I had fun, but I just kind of missed it.
I was going to say, so did it feel funny going back to combing and taking care of your loose natural?
It was very funny because it didn't even feel like I was going back to anything. Because remember, I got my locks at 5, so I didn't remember anything else other than, you know, locking it, washing it, and locking it, and all of that. So I had to like call my friends and be like, what kind of combs am I supposed to be using? And, you know, all that stuff. Because it was all really new to me. 26 or 27, I was just like, I don't even know what to do with my hair. But, you know, on journey too. Like, I remember going through what is it, Sally Hansen or whatever that shop is that has all those hair supplies, and I was just like on the phone with my friend, like, so it looks like this. Can I send you a picture? Is this the comb I'm supposed to be using? You know.
That is too funny.
Yeah, and then on top of that, my 2 girls were growing as well. They were young, and I realized, I was like, man, I have to do your hair. Like, this is a new responsibility, and so I better understand what's going on here. It's not just me anymore, and it's not just, you know, a hairdresser. So.
Right.
Yeah. Gone on you with the pick and roll. Younger flame hit mode.